Best Media Podcast Network.
Alright, metalheads, I got some breaking news. Now, you remember when I said that I had good news to say about Metallica? Well, unfortunately, I have some bad news about Megadeth. Let's get into this, because this is, I shouldn't say shocking for some, but, unsurprising to others. Good evening, demons and demonesses. This is Kwame Wahkan here, and today I'm going to be talking about Megadeth and their post they just announced. Now, this just came about about an hour ago, and they announced that they will be releasing one final album and a farewell tour. So, unfortunately, this is going to be it for Megadeth. Never in my life did I think Metallica would outlive Megadeth, but here we are. I have an article for you guys. Let's read through all this. July saw the death of Ozzy Osbourne, and now August sees the beginning of the end for Megadeth. It's been a hell of a year, huh? Dave Mustaine has announced that Megadeth's upcoming album will be their final studio release, marking the end of one of metal's most influential careers. The record, due early next year via Mustaine's trademark imprint in partnership with Frontier's label groups BLK IIBLK label, will be accompanied by a global farewell tour. In a statement to fans, Mustaine reflected on the decision. There's so many musicians that have come to the end of their career, whether accidental or intentional. Most of them don't get to go out on their own terms on top. And that's where I'm at in my life right now. The hardest part of all of this is saying goodbye. This is also a perfect time for us to tell you that it's our last studio album. Don't be mad, don't be sad, be happy for us all. Come celebrate with me these next few years. Mustaine said the farewell would be a celebration of the band's impact. We started a musical style, we started a revolution, we changed the guitar world and how it's played, and we changed the world. The bands I played in have influenced the world. I love you all for it. Thank you for everything. This new album's first single will arrive this fall alongside the launch of global pre-orders. Next year we will also see the release of Mustaine's new memoir, with details to follow. Megadeth was formed in 1983 by Mustaine after his dismissal from Metallica. Teaming up with bassist David Ellefson, Mustaine set out to create a faster, more technically aggressive brand of heavy metal, helping to pioneer the emerging thrash metal movement. Their debut album, Killing Is My Business and Business Is Good, came out in 1985, establishing their raw speed and ferocity. The band quickly refined their sound with Peace Sells But Who's Buying in 1986, which became a defining record in metal history. Throughout the late 80s and early 90s, Megadeth released a string of influential albums, including So Far, So Good, So What in 1988, Rust in Peace in 1990, and Countdown to Extinction in 1992, cementing their reputation as one of thrash metal's big four, alongside Metallica, Slayer, and Anthrax. Despite numerous lineup changes and Mustaine's struggle with substance abuse, Megadeth maintained a prolific output, experimenting with more accessible and radio-friendly material in the mid to late 1990s with albums like Euthanasia in 1994 and Cryptic Writings in 1997, before returning to a heavier style in the 2000s. Following Mustaine's recovery from an arm injury that nearly ended his career, the band experienced a resurgence with releases such as The System Has Failed in 2004, Endgame in 2009, and the Grammy-winning Dystopia in 2016. And now, all these years later, it's over. Crazy. Like I said, this news is going to hurt and devastate not just thrash metal fans, but, a lot of older metalheads, in general. It's hard to believe that I'm 31 years old and like most of these albums came out when I was like a wee lad. Some of them even before I was born, and that's the tough part about getting old is that a lot of the music that you grew up listening to, they're eventually going to either retire or unfortunately in Ozzy Osbourne's case pass away. Now, I know Dave Mustaine has also had a lot of other health issues. I mean, he's been clean, he's been sober for many, many years. I think at one point he converted to Christianity and, got right with God. And, there's certain songs that he won't play anymore because, that was during a time in his life when he was dealing with substance abuse and whatnot. But, even so, he still maintained, a very hard-hitting presence within heavy metal and also in the thrash scene. So, I mean, we're literally talking about a man who defined an entire genre of rock music. For, even people that don't listen to heavy metal still have a lot of respect for Megadeth and at least know at least one Megadeth song or probably listen to one Megadeth album. And being that he was part of Metallica and then he eventually formed his own band, he brought a lot of Metallica fans over. And I'm not gonna lie, as someone who's both a fan of Metallica and Megadeth, all hands down goes to Megadeth when it comes to their style, when it comes to their guitar playing, when it comes to, the lyrics. Dave Mustaine is one hell of a guitar player and a lyricist. And when it comes to their albums, so far I don't think that Megadeth has released any terrible album. Now, we all know that there's that one bad album that Metallica released. And I'm not going to talk about that here because, that's a different topic for a different day in a different video. And that's pretty controversial. Even so, it's sad to see Dave Mustaine go, but we understand completely, It's getting rough, Dave Mustaine's getting old. A lot of us metalheads are starting to get old too. And that's a fact in life that I'm going to have to, accept. I'm no longer in my 20s. I'm literally been on this planet for 3 fucking decades. It was only a matter of time before, something like this would happen, and it's just really tough, Now, do I think all of the band members are going to retire? It's possibly, but at the same time, possibly not. For all we know, they might split up, go their own separate ways, form with their own new bands, or, join another band that's looking for, a new member. This might be the end of Megadeth, but it's not going to be the end for all of their musical careers. Believe me when I say this, they're going to keep playing until they drop. But even so, that kind of makes you wonder what's going to be the fate of every other band that, was really popular in the 80s. What's going to happen with Judas Priest? What's going to happen with Iron Maiden? All I can say is this, Megadeth definitely had a good run, and a matter of fact, I think they have the best track record when it comes to album releases and tours. And the fact that Dystopia was one of those albums that, received a Grammy, don't know about you, but I think that was definitely well-deserved, and it couldn't have came at a better time. Now, this last album, who knows what it's going to sound like. Maybe it's going to take us on a trip through the eras, different styles from different albums. Maybe this could be something completely new that, Megadeth is cooking up. But whatever they choose, I think we all know Megadeth is going to go out with a bang. And it's going to leave all of us mind blown. That's pretty much all I got to say about this. You guys stay safe, stay metal, hail Satan, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Or could this be another fake-out situation? They could move, the whole Slayer route and, say that they're doing a final tour and then end up coming back a couple months later, doing more tours and releasing more albums. So either way, I think Dave Mustaine still has the fight left in him if he wants to continue, with his career. And I don't think the fans are going to be upset about that either. In fact, as a Megadeth fan, that's something that I would be looking forward to. But, just let me know what you think.